I find it interesting in this season. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but I'm finding that this world seems to be just tumbling out of control. I mean, it just feels like there's more shootings happening in schools. There seems to be more strife. There seems to be more anarchy. There seems to be just more of fear. And honestly, I'm a little sick of it. I'm a little sick of hearing all about this fear all over the place. I'm tired of turning on every news station every few seconds and seeing fear coming at me. Tired of seeing wars. I'm tired of seeing fightings. I'm tired of seeing mobs running through the stores on Black Friday and beating one another up for a piece of merchandise. Because this isn't the truth. I find it interesting that thanks to the internet, maybe that's it. Maybe it's because it's a smaller world, we have more access to information around the world, that we're seeing more about this. But I find it interesting that we're usually seeing the same 5 stories about abuse over and over again, and then we're saying that the world is on fire and the world is bad. I'm here to say that it's time for us to turn the tables. It's time for us to no longer move into a dissension of our consciousness and move in with this fear. I'd say it's time to shake off all of that. Yes, it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact. I can't deny that. I'm not going to give you a lullaby that there isn't any evil in the world, that we do not do evil things. We do. But that isn't the truth of us. The truth of us is love, the absolute. And so as we go into this Christmas season, as we celebrate Advent, I invite us to march to a different tune. I invite us to look at love not as a beautiful emotion, but as a call to action. Really, the birth of Jesus is a call to action. The birth of the Christ within us is a call to action to love. And it is in these days when we are seeing more and more anger, more and more hatred in the world, more and more darkness, is when we come more into the truth that this is the time to really know love. Not in this season only, but allow this season to catapult you in a march towards loving more each and every day. Move you forward to stand about. I find it interesting that as we're going through the Christmas season, and I'm hearing more and more about the Antichrist. Has anyone else heard more about the Antichrist? Maybe it's just the channels I'm looking at. No more looking at this channel 16 that has all the Christian stations. And I found it interesting that I actually started believing. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? The Antichrist is here. I know I'm looking at Martha and Rochelle's voice. Rochelle's mouth is dropping. I know, I find that amazing. But here's the deal. The Antichrist in traditional theology is really not believing in Jesus Christ. In unity, the Antichrist is really about not believing that the Christ abides and imbibes within us all. That the Christ does not live within us or any of us. That's really what the Antichrist is about. And I want to shift that a little bit to say that the Antichrist then also says that we don't believe in love. And that's where I was coming from. Because we seem to be drinking the Kool-Aid more and more. We seem to be falling into the fear more and more, instead of seeing it as the illusion that it is. Seeing that the world isn't just about hatred and fear. No, those are just the visions that come at us almost every moment of every second, but that doesn't mean that that's the truth. For it isn't the truth. Coming back into love is saying, no, I refuse to see that as the truth. It's a fact of right now. It's been a fact of all of our lives. It's been a fact for this world. But doesn't mean that it's the absolute and it has to be the fact for the future. I invite you to join me in not just taking this Christmas and just saying love is a beautiful thing, buying a lot of things to prove your love, but really freeing yourself from the inhibitions of love, the inhibitions, and providing yourselves with the opportunity to open your heart and allow yourself to be free. I found it interesting. In the middle of the night, I changed my whole talk because these two songs kept coming up. And I invite you, as you move through each and every time, as you look at the news, and yes, I'm dating myself because I was alive during these songs. I invite you to think of these words. As you are trying to fight against the challenges of life, and as you see fear and anger come at you, I invite you to know that love is the answer. How many people know the song Love is the Answer? Don't be shy. I only see one person who doesn't know it. It is by England Dan and John Ford Coley. It's a wonderful song. And I'm not going to sing it to you because I don't want you guys running out here with your ears bleeding. But I do want to give you a part of the song, just a little bit of it, which I think speaks to us. It's the very start of the song. It says, "Name your price, a ticket to paradise." Isn't that really all we want? Isn't that why we're falling into the fears? It's because all we want is that paradise, that heaven here on earth. And whatever that ticket is, we think it's in the money, in the things. We're constantly looking for that ticket to paradise. But I can't stay here anymore. For I've looked high, I've looked low, I've been from shore to shore. I think we all feel this. If there was a shortcut, I'd have found it. But there's no easy way around it. You know, isn't that what we're all falling into? That's why we're always in fear of having our stuff taken away. We're in fear of being vulnerable because if we show love, we get hurt. If we give ourselves to someone, they might decline it. We're looking high and low from everywhere possible for the answer, for our healing. And there's no easy way around it. And you guys, if you guys want to join in, you know the song. The only answer is light of the world. Shine on me. Love is the answer. Shine on us all. Set us free. Love is the answer. Now, I can't even tell you. I didn't see the date. I'm sure it was like in the 70s, but I remember hearing it on the radio. But these songs were valid. Songs speak to our souls because they touch us in a place. I'd invite you to get the song out. Listen to it because it's an answer. That for everything that we're looking for in this world, there's only really one answer. And it is an emotion. It's not just an emotion, it's an action. It's love. We just sang it here, but you know what? We sing the songs about love and we think ooey gooey thoughts and I'll be better and I'll show love and share love. No, it's not an ooey gooey thought, it's a reality. It's our only reality. Charles Fillmore says that love is that substance, that source that binds us. Not just binds you and me, binds everything. Love is that thing that binds all of creation. And it's one of the things that allows us to be in one with that love, which is God. The answer is just very simple. We just read it here. And I didn't know you guys were going to read this, but I'm going to read part of this as a part of the sermon. Because I think that we hear these things, but we don't consume them. We don't absorb them. You know what? I find it interesting before I read this that isn't it interesting that it takes tragedy for the truth of us to really come out? It takes some sort of horrific thing for the news to show the truth of us that no matter what happens, we always stand up and come to love to help one another. Because as the affirmation says, love comes naturally. It really does. That's our innate substance. That is the truth of us. That is the Christedness of us. That is God within us, is that love. And it's through that love we can let go of all of our fears, no matter how much is coming at us. No matter how much lack or limitation there seems to be in your bank account, in your life as love, in your health. The truth is you have an an unlimited source of love that binds you, that heals you, that brings love to you. That is all. This is the love that we talk about in Advent. We talk about when I love myself and others, I express my own Christ nature. So I want to stop it there because that's really important. When I love myself and others, I express my own Christ nature. The answer is how we can get out of this fear, how we can get out of this lack and limitation and see the truth around us, is to be in tune to the Christic component of us. Love ourselves, and in turn, love others. The first thing, I think most people, and even as in Buddhism, they say, the best way to get out of your way is to love others. I'm going to turn that around, and I'll tell you why. I say the first thing that you do is start loving yourself. I'm not talking about in a narcissistic way. And yes, I'm talking about being selfish, but to see yourself as the beloved child of God. Even in the Bible, Jesus talks about we are all one. It's only here on the earth that we try to divide ourselves from each other so we have more power over each other. No, we are one in this love. And so the first thing I say is look at yourself and see the beauty and the love that you are. The second song I want to talk about really exhibits this, and this is what takes me a little further back with Carole King. How many of you have heard the Tapestry album? Have owned that Tapestry album? Carole King? There's a beautiful song that was my anthem growing up as, 5, 6 years of age. And the name of it is called Beautiful. No, not Christina Aguilera. It's Carole King. It's an anthem that states this very clearly. You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. And people are going to treat you better. You're going to find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. You have to wake up with a smile on your face, go into the mirror. You've heard me say this a zillion times, and so see the beauty that you are. This is why I'm saying this, is because there is a formula that you can't give what you don't have. And most of the theory is that if you serve, you're actually giving that. You're giving what you already have. But I think it's easier to first find that within yourself, fortify it so that you can give it out more clearly, more deeply, more completely. So it's about moving into yourself, moving into the depths of your being, finding that peace, and opening up your heart to being vulnerable. Opening up your heart so that you can fully express love without expectation. Without an expectation of getting anything back, just with the expectation of just giving for the pure pleasure of it. And yes, that does mean giving to yourself. Treating yourself in a beautiful, kind way. Treating your body in healthy ways. Looking at the beautiful person that you are. Looking at the things that you have and can offer to the world. Not looking at the things that you are lacking and wish that you had. No. Look at yourself and find that pearl, that jewel that is you. Those gifts that you bring, and only you can bring because you were created in your own special image and likeness of God. And you move forward with that. Allow that to blossom. Allow that to magnify. Allow yourself to love yourself for who you are exactly right now. Treasure yourself. And when you start loving yourself, again, not in a narcissistic, selfish way, but in the realization that I am God's beloved child, and I want to share this goodness. I want to share it with the world. I don't want my light out. I want my light to touch people. Then you can find out what that special gift is. You can move forward in love with a pure heart, with no expectations. For if you give, there are people who are going to refuse your love, and that's all right. You give it anyway. There's some people who are going to accept it, yet consume it. You give it anyway. Give your love because it is what we are here to do. This is who we are here to be. Now, we talk about God is love. God isn't an action. God is the substance and the source that we pull from. We are truly the hands, the hearts, the people who execute this component of love. So it is time for us to no longer sit behind us, not appreciating the Christedness that is within us. No longer are we going to accept the lack of love that is in this world. I invite you to step up to the truth of who you are, the greatness of who you are. All of a sudden, I'm hearing Marianne Williamson's quote, and unfortunately, I can't remember all of it, but I do remember the part, "You were born to be great." How dare you move beyond your greatness? Be that beautiful child of God. And it all starts in love. It all starts from that one source of love that can permeate your body. And if you're fully filled with love, no matter what the outside world does, it will not affect you. Because you will be radiating and vibrating on that love. I ask you to imagine that if each and every person sitting here just expressed with a full heart of love to one another, how would that feel? Yes, you already do a lot of love, but I mean a full expansion of just pouring out of unadulterated love to one another. How high would you get from that? How much would you float? And then to take it out to Manhattan, Kansas. That every time you were in the mall, you felt this vibration of love and the smile in the eyes of the person, a stranger that was walking by. Then all of a sudden you noticed in another stranger, like they were your best friend or something. And think about you giving it back to them. You're smiling, your eyes are twinkling, almost like, oh my God, I love you, I haven't seen you in forever. How would that feel, that every person that you passed, a beautiful, loving, platonic love just radiated out of everyone that you passed? How would that feel? That all of a sudden everyone that you met was in this action of love. Not just saying the words and doing the ooey gooey love songs, but no, actualizing it, being it. And take yourself out of Manhattan to the rural areas and to the next city, and then everyone. Can you imagine if everyone came radiating that love and that peace? It begins with us, doesn't it? That would change the world. How could we go into war when we're looking in one another's eyes with love and appreciation for who that person is? How can we hate, no matter what they've done to us, when we are seeing the Christedness within them and the truth of who they are? How could we want to hurt anyone when we see the truth that they are us and we are them, and all of us are one in the love of God? So I'm not going to wage a war on a war on hate or anything like that, because a war is about fighting. I invite you to look at yourself as the light being that you are. And I invite you to see your heart as a cornucopia of love and peace. I allow yourselves to see each and every person that you meet also has that heart filled with love, pouring it out to the world. And even if they say an unkind word, know that that's just that fear is reverse love. Don't get affected by it. Don't hate them. Just turn that fear back into the love that it truly was meant to be. So I invite you to move in love. Love yourselves, love one another. Feel this love, for love heals all wounds and soothes every soul, including your own. Let go of judgment, insecurity, and needing to be right. Did you guys hear that? Needing to be right? I know, sometimes I want to cross over that one myself. Because I'm a strong personality. I'm a brilliant woman. I'm right most of the time, but you know. But it's that needing to be right. as I welcome and express more love in my life. The example Jesus set in loving all people should inspire us all. You know, really, that's the beauty of the Gospels. It's not about Jesus needing Jesus to get to God. It's about the beautiful story that Jesus has and the example. Now, I don't get into whether Jesus was an actual human being or not. That throws us further and further away from the teachings. No, allow the teachings to be example. Jesus was an open heart of love. And he always got in trouble for it, didn't he? Actually, he was crucified for loving and being an open heart of love. And you know, that's all right, because the beauty of another season that I won't get too much into here is that no matter how many people crucify you, you're always reborn anew. Even better. No matter how people try to bring you down, you are renewed and revitalized in a better way. So don't even let that fear come to you. Allow yourself to move forward. The example Jesus set in loving all people inspires me and expands my circle of loving relationships. So as this prayer says, I invite you to commit to showing up as love. At the very heart of me, say to yourselves, I am love, and I am grateful. You are love, and I am grateful for all of you. Namaste.